starting so that everybody gets a chance. Praveen ji, if you could switch off your video, आप अपना वीडियो बंद कर लें. Thank you. Thank you. Pratik ji, if you could switch off the video. Thanks, Pratik ji. If you could, everybody please switch off your video so that you can see the speakers. Dang ji, आप अपना वीडियो बंद कर सकते हैं? Snehata madam, we can't still hear you. Yes, excellent. Thank you, Dang ji. All the attendees who are joining in, kindly switch off your video. Yes. Bhavesh ji, please switch off your video. Everybody. Hello, everybody. All the attendees who are joining in, kindly switch off your video. आपके लोगो और सिस्टम के नीचे एक साइन होगा वीडियो का, उसमें क्रॉस होगा, आप उसको प्लीज टच कर दीजिए जिससे वीडियो सबकी बंद हो जाए, so that you can just see the speakers.
शक्ल तो नहीं दिखा रहे. हेलो हेलो अंकिता.
Yes.
Record, storing of record and so on till disposing the records. Then it also outlines the operational requirement for various record controls such as metadata schemes, access and permissions, operational requirement for various record systems such as security, terminology, inventory, integrity, monitoring of record. Basically, it assists organization to implement, operate, and improve management system for record towards continual improvement of that system. And ISO 30302 is just a guideline for implementation of this requirement standard. Another important standard in series is record management processes metadata for record, ISO 23081. This is again in 3 parts, and this series of standards set out framework for creating, managing, and using record management metadata and explains the principle that governs them. Then this is a pictorial representation of interrelationships of standards on management system for record with other related standards in this field. So, then two major standard we have on library performance indicator, ISO 11620. This is library performance indicator, and this lists out parameters and various performance indicator for activities and services undertaken by libraries. The basic parameters can be availability, usage, managing efficiently the resources and services being provided by library. And each parameter has its own indicator. Each indicator has defined objective, definition, scope, source, and related indicators. So this standard can be used for comparing different libraries or can be used for comparing library performance over the period of time. Next standard is for performance indicator for national libraries. So national library can have a unique characteristics in terms of structure, funding, governance, and the and it can be affected by various situational factors that can impact its services and resources. So in addition to above basic factors which are being given in ISO 11620, there are additional factors for national libraries such as building national collection, digitalization of services, and potential for development, preservation of national collections. So this standard outlines all these performance indicators for national libraries. Then another standard for libraries is RFID technology in libraries. This is ISO 28560. This is again is in part 3, 3 parts. And this RFID technology, radio frequency identification technology, is the latest technology used in library that combines security with more efficient tracking of material. So implementation of RFID based system can prove effective tool for easier and faster tracking of documents, inventory management, stock verification, shelf handling throughout the library, along with security, obviously. And it also ensures interoperability between libraries for exchanging the library items with RFID tag. And it is much more faster than barcode technology, and it has more shelf life than barcodes. So this technology is very useful for libraries. And we have standard on country code. Many of people may be knowing about this country code, but I don't know, people may be knowing that there is a standard for this country code. So we have ISO 3166 part 1, part 2, part 3 for specifying country codes. So ISO 3166 series provide universally accepted coded representation of names of countries and other areas of geopolitical interest and their subdivisions. So part 1 deals with setting country code for to represent country name. It gives alpha 2 code, alpha 3 code, alpha numeric code. Like for India, we have alpha 2 code is IN, alpha 3 code is IND, and 3-digit numeric code is 356, and that is being used for statistical use. And then part 2 defined code for representing names of principal subdivisions within the country. Like at present, this code defines India has 28 state and 8 union territory. So for Delhi, the alpha 2 code is IN-DL. For Andhra Pradesh, it is IN-AP. So it defined codes for different states of our country. Similarly, for other countries also, it defined different codes. And part 3 deals with codes of countries which has been deleted for part 1. Means they don't exist at present. They may be existing during the initial stages when this standard was formulated, like Burma. It is no more existent. So, and maintenance agency is there, which is established by ISO to update the data, to give the codes, to administrate the reservation of these assigned country codes. Another important standard in series is date and time. Date and time representation for information interchange. ISO 860 deals with date and time representation, and these standard provide a set of date and time format representation for information interchange in order to minimize the risk of misinterpretation, confusion, and their consequences. And the date is based on Gregorian calendar, and the time is based on 24-hour clock time. And this standard provides extended and basic format for date time representation. Then these are few standards on codes like ISRC recording code, which give unique identification for audio recording and music video recording. IL means International Standard Identifier for Libraries. It gives unique identification for libraries and related organizations such as museum and archives. Then we have International Standard Serial Number, which give coding for serials and other editions of that continuing resources for that. Then we have ISMN, music number. Music number is assigned unique code for additions of music. Then ISBN, International Standard Book Number. This book number is very prominently used. It is mandatory for all the books, and it is a 13-digit number assigned to publication. And since 1970, ISBN has been essential part of our global book trade and publishers and retailers and entire supply chain. And it enables electronic transactions in their ordering, inventory, and cataloging system. Again, these codes are being administered and supervised and coordinated by registration authority. Now coming to main focus of our seminar, BIS has recently adopted the standard on international standard link identifier. And this standard identifies link between different entities that are related to each other. And it links without changing the properties of these entities. And this improves the accessibility and interoperability between different entities. So it creates a link between source and target with a link, and ISLI number is designated by 6-digit service field, one link field. Link field can be any number, any digit number, and one digit check digit number. And it is again administered by registration authority. And this was in our next presentation. MSA Edtech will be discussing how this technology can be used to convert normal books into talking books for the benefit of society at large. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And if someone wants our presentation, please write to us at msg@bs.gov.in and visit our website on www.bs.gov.in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shalu Madam, for this webinar, the wonderful presentation, and also hand-holding us and providing such a streamlined, successful webinar. Thank you for all your efforts. Next, I'm requesting our director, Mr. Manish Rajoria, who from MSA Edtech Pvt Ltd. He is going to introduce us about ISLI, the technology, uses and benefits. Over to you, sir.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It is going to be a very, very interesting session where we will be talking about how we can convert our books into talking books. So we all know that education is the foundation of the development of every nation. And with education, we can really solve a lot of problems that we have today, be it health or civic sense or democracy, or economy. So I think it is very important that we find ways to educate our people and reach to the maximum number of people, even up to the most interior parts of the country. So today we are going to just run through a presentation which will explain about the ISO standard and why this standard was made and how it works and how we can very easily convert our books into talking books. So I'd like to share my screen now. Few people still have their cameras on. They can please switch them off. It is Hemu Bhai and Archita Bhai, please.
हेमू भाई, there must be a video icon. आप उस पे टच करेंगे तो वीडियो बंद हो जाएगी. Same is the case for Archita Ben.
Okay, so I think everybody can see my screen now.
No, we can't. Yes, we can now.
Okay, excellent. Is it visible now?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so ICAI is the International Information Content Industry Association. And today we are going to talk about this standard, which was initially created by the ISO organization in Switzerland, in Geneva. And now Bureau of Indian Standards has adopted this. So we are going to talk about this standard, which is ISO 17316. So we'll cover these following points here. Basic information about ISLI, benefits, the application, and about the association also. So basically, ISLI is trying to create a link between various publications, audio files, video files, products, or whatever international. I think we have to keep muting people. So ISLI, the full form is International Standard Link Identifier. So this standard was created in 2015. So an ISLI is also a member of the identifier standard family, which is ISO TC46 and SC9. So this covers the identification and description. So basically, what is happening that there is a source and there's a target. So which means if there is a book and there is a audio file, how do we connect them? So this ISLI works as a link between the text and the target. So the target could be also audio and also it could be video. So when we use the ISLI codes, it doesn't change the ownership of the content or the right to access or the existing identification entities. So this also helps in a lot of metadata, because metadata is a very big word now in e-commerce. So the question is of discoverability. So if a book has to be identified and we need to know the author has he done some other forms of his content, whether it is audio or video, they will be able to identify through this. So the ownership remains the same. We are just trying to develop a link between the entity A and entity B. So about the code structure of ISLI. So we have a 6-digit service field. This is for different departments and different numbers or different objects. And then we have this link field. So this is variable. So this means that the length of this field can be less or more. And then the third is the, I think we need to mute someone's mic. And the third one is the check digit. So this is the sample of a ISLI code, which is in the numeric form. And it can be in the form of a ISLI mark, or it can be in the form of a dot code. So this is a dot code. Or it can be in the form of a QR code. So QR code can be accessed by mobile phones. For a dot code, we need a reading device, which we call in a very simple language, a talking pen. So the scope of application of ISLI is very wide. So currently, it has been applied in the field of publishing, but the potential fields are archiving, libraries, record management, documentation and information centers, museum documentation, indexing, and abstracting services. So what we do here is, with this ISLI, we give a open API. So the technology is being made available. So ISLI gives an open API, and ISLI will always allocate the codes. If there's a conflict, they will resolve the code issues. They will talk about authentication of the users. They will talk about system authentication. And the most important is metadata retrieval. So let's come to the benefits of ISLI. So when you look at this chart, we see various numbers or various names like ISBN, ISSN. And there is a linkage between all these. And to link all of them, we have the ISLI link identifier. So I'll just explain what these abbreviations stand for. So ISLI, what we're talking about is the International Standard Link Identifier. ISNI is the International Standard Name Identifier. ISTC is International Standard Text Code. ISWC is International Standard Musical Work Code. ISRC is International Standard Recording Code. ISAN is the International Standard Audiovisual Number. ISBN we are all very familiar with, which is the International Standard Book Number. ISSN is also very widely used. It is the International Standard Serial Number for publications and journals and all. ISNM is for music. DOI is for Digital Object Identifier. So every product which is created is now having an identification number. So what is happening is there are multiple identification numbers, and how do we create a link between all of them? So ISLI bridges this gap. So if there's ISBN and there is some music content, or there's some ebook and there are various numbers assigned to it, so how do we establish a link? So this is the main thing to understand here. So if we look at any content, we have the text, the audio, the video, and various other forms of the content. So with ISLI, it can be represented through a dot code or a QR code. It could be a chain code, or it could also be an invisible code. So the invisible code is usually used for an AR application. AR is augmented reality. So to find metadata also, ultimately, if we have the ISLI number, through that everything can be tracked and also linked. So basically, when we have the content and we want to link it with the audio or the video or an ebook, and we also want to work on the metadata. So we have the keywords which could be found on Google, Bing, Yahoo, Naver. So this ISLI facilitates the discoverability also of your content, which means if you have created any content and various forms of the content, it can be tracked back to the original creator like this. So if we, for example, have a Hamlet book, which is in the form of a book also, we have created some audio also, we've created some video, and there's some content. So how do we link and connect all these dots? So ISLI is the identifier which helps in interoperability. So interoperability is the key word here that we need to understand. About ICAI. So ICAI is the International Information Content Industry Association, abbreviated as ICAI. It has more than 42 members, over 20 countries. So now the country has list is growing, and I think the latest data is for about 35 countries, which includes UK, France, Belgium, South Korea, India now, with the help of Bureau of Indian Standards. We have created the Indian standard, and we are here to disseminate this information, teach people how this standard can be used, and how we can have a standardized process through which we can create the talking books. So there is a ISO standard which was published by ISO, the organization in Switzerland, Geneva. Now Bureau of Indian Standards has adopted the standard, and this will be available at a much lower cost for all the stakeholders in the country. So now we are on the very interesting part of this session, which is about converting your books into talking books. So we will cover a lot of interesting things here. So ISLI again, this is. So what the association does is they create various registration authorities, which are called district registration authorities for various parts of the world. So every area they consider and they call it a district. So for India, this organization ISLI India would be issuing codes to all the SAARC countries. So when we come to what are talking books, so this is a brief diagram which tries to explain. So the story starts with having a book first, and then getting the codes for converting the book into a talking book. So we have the standardized ISLI codes. So these codes would be available freely to everyone, and they can do the coding of their books, which means simply allocate an alphabet or a word or a paragraph or a image, one unique code. And when the pen is pointed on the code or that image or the text, the audio file is activated. So where do we get the audio files from? So either the reading device has the audio files preloaded, or if the reading device is already in the hand of a user with some books and new books are published later on, so the new audio files can be downloaded from the website of the publisher itself, or we are developing a centralized portal where all the files of all the talking books or the video books would be available at one place. So if we have all the SSAs, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan people, or the textbook bureaus, or the National Open School, or the state governments, or it could be IGNU, they could have their website, and the audio files can be downloaded into the reading device. So I will just show you how the reading device looks like. So this is how the reading device looks like, and we just switch it on. And when we point it on a book, it
Hello
reads.
friends, let's read stories Cooking the Khichdi. Goodbye.
So this is how the reading device looks and how the audio file is activated. So now Jaideep Sharma ji had a very interesting question, whether all books can be converted into talking books. Yes, all books can be converted into talking books when they are being sent out for printing. He also asked whether one book can be having multiple languages. So yes, there is no barrier of language here. So the language could be English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Telugu, or even the languages which are used by tribals. Some of the languages which are getting extinct, they can all be used here. So we talk about benefits of talking books. So in the current scenario, we are talking about the schools are closed, government is banning online classes for little children. This is a great solution for homeschooling because parents could be busy, or they would not have the patience or maybe not the capability to teach a child. So this talking pen acts as a talking teacher also. So by using a talking book and a talking pen, we're actually bringing the child closer to books, so which every parent wants, and every parent also wants to reduce the screen time of a child. So children learn by listening. So if somebody sends a child from maybe Nepal to UK, we don't need to teach him English. He will learn the English language by listening to people around him, by going to a school, or even if he doesn't go to school, he is in his friend circle or he's going to the market. So by listening, he starts learning a particular language. With the talking book, which is additional feature other than reading. So children develop better comprehension. It's been proven that it is very useful for specially able children. So we have a NGO which is run by Dr. Jagmeet Kaur in Bhopal, Aadhaar. So they have been using talking books, and they have found very, very good improvements with slow learners, dyslexic, and children with autism. This also is a very big opportunity for visually impaired children or children with low vision. So we all understand how difficult it is to, number one, make the braille books. They are quite expensive, and it's a little challenging to learn how to read a braille book. So the braille books can also be converted into talking books. Classroom learning, it becomes very interactive, effective, and children really like to use the talking pen because it's a new technology for them, though the technology is existing for more than 10 years now. But for the child, it is very, very interesting. Teacher quality is a challenge with a lot of countries, and we can certainly assist the children in the teachers with correct pronunciation. We talk about equality of all the economic status because this technology is quite cost effective. So we can talk about taking it to the most every section of the society and to the most interior part of the world. So it's a holistic development, and we also talk about inclusive education here. So the cost of tabs, smartphones is much higher than a talking pen. Screen time damages, and reaching the rural population without internet or even without electricity. Some of the models of the talking pen do come with the pencil cells, so which means you don't need to recharge your pen, or if you have limited electricity supply, so you could charge it when you have electricity. So why do we need a standard? So all publishers should be using one standard to make the talking books. So what will happen is, if they start using one standard and converting their books into talking books, only one device would be required to read any of the books published with this ISO standard. So what happens is the cost of the reader goes down because everybody is trying to use various models of a standardized reader. So the reader will be capable of reading the books coded with this particular standard, which is 17316. So this works very well with the government publication departments, whether it is textbook bureaus or the open schools or the open universities, and there is no conflict of codes here. So I will just show you what we mean by conflict of code. So I simply switch on the pen and I go on this book, which is Aksharmala.
आओ दोस्तों अक्षरमाला सीखें अक्षरमाला.
So we can code every
Keep the book
image.
a little up. Okay.
So
मैं उल्लू नामक पक्षी हूँ. मैं रात को ही देख सकता हूँ.
now what I'm doing is, without doing anything on the pen, I take a book which is alphabet.
क
So we see the image of the monkey, but when I point, it says.
क
So these two books are of one publisher, and there's a conflict of codes. So they have to go to the cover page.
Hello friends, let's start learning alphabet. I am very mischievous. M M O N K E Y monkey.
So when we have a standardized device, we do not need to worry whether the same device will be used on multiple books or not. I will just give you a demo how we can change the language of a particular book. So the book is printed in English and we can listen to it in multiple languages. I'll just show you the demo.
Hello friends, let's read stories Cooking the Khichdi.
So here we have icons of 4 languages: English, Hindi, Marathi and Gujarati. So I will take Hindi.
Hindi.
So the text is printed in English, and when we point it on the English text, we can listen to the audio file in Hindi.
भारत के सर्वकालीन महानतम शासकों में से एक अकबर महान के दरबार में कई विद्वान मंत्री थे।
मराठी.
So I've turned it to Marathi.
भारताच्या इतिहासात जे मोठे मोठे राजे महाराजे होऊन गेले त्यामध्ये अकबर हा
English.
So back to English now.
One of the greatest Indian rulers of all time, Akbar the Great, had several well-educated ministers in his court. Goodbye.
So this is why the standardization is required, so that there is no conflict in the codes of any publisher of the world, not only the country. Which means if a child is studying, we need to mute somebody's mic. So if a child is studying in, for example, Jammu Kashmir, and he wants to, his parents are transferred to Kerala, so he can use the same device on the books published by the Kerala government. From there, he is shifted to another school in West Bengal, so he can use the same device for reading those books. And if new books are published, the new audio files can be downloaded from a central portal or the publisher's portal at any point from anywhere in the world. So we have created a ISLI platform here. So ISLI would be the custodian and be issuing the codes to various people in all the SAARC countries. So the most interesting thing is codes will be issued free of cost, which means you don't have to pay for the code. The code is freely available, the technology is very robust, and everybody gets a unique code. So the coding process, how do we code the books? So we would either ask all the publishers, especially in the government, either they can learn how to code the books, and there's a coding. So the coding software can be made available to all the government agencies. They can code their books, and this coding software is costing about $14,000, which is being made available free of cost to all the government stakeholders. Or either they do the coding themselves, or they can hire coding agencies who understand the technology. They understand how to code, how to have some quizzes, some question answers, right, wrong, or have various language options. So we have 2 trained agencies already. One is headed by Mr. Anuj Sharma, his number is here, and the other one is headed by Ms. Nisha Marun. Once the coding is done, we come to the process of printing. So printing is very, very similar to the offset printing that we do of all the existing books. The only difference is we have to use sheet fed offset. So web offset, the challenge is of the size of the dots that we can get. So on sheet fed, we can easily achieve the required quality to print these books. Now the question arises whether we can do multicolored books or we could do black and white books. So yes, multicolored books are possible. So you could code as per the alphabet or the word or the paragraph or the whole page, or it could also speak from the image. So usually in talking books, additional script is created other than what is already printed in the book. When we talk about single color books, so single color books also coding is possible. What we simply have to do is we have to put the codes on the area where the text is not printed. So for example, on the screen you see the white area. So on any part of the white area, you can put the code and maybe create a box or a icon of a speaker so that the user knows where to point the pen and use it. So usually when we talk about children with low vision or visually impaired people, we would emphasize on having the books in multi-color or maybe minimum 2 colors so that they can point the pen anywhere on the page and listen to this text. When it comes to printing, we have a process of training people and also approving printing facilities to ensure that there is no problem and no wastage of resources and the end product is flawless. So we certainly do training and hand-holding to ensure flawless implementation, which is done by the District Registration Authority of ISLI. ISLI is the International Standard Link Identifier. We talk about the device. So device comes in various models, shapes, sizes with various kinds of features. So it basically has an inbuilt sensor, a speaker and a memory. So memory could start with some MB to 8 GB or whatever amount of memory is required. On the memory point, we would like to emphasize that the files that we feed or put into the talking compressed. So means maybe 50 books could come into just, and if you want to change the books or add more books into the pen, you could simply remove or delete the old files using a normal USB cable connecting it to your computer and upload new files. And the files would be made available on the website of the publishing company, which could be a private publisher or a government publisher, or on a centralized portal. So the battery is rechargeable, which is a lithium ion battery, which comes with a USB charger, just like a mobile phone. There's also possibility, if we want, we can use normal pencil cells, AAA or AA, whatever is required as per the model. Now, the optional feature that we have in this technology is the Bluetooth. So when talking books were being used in Nepal, they realized that they don't afford to give one pen to every child. So what they insisted, and they worked on the technology and got a Bluetooth fixed into the talking pen, and they connected it with a Bluetooth speaker. And now they are addressing the whole class, and the class and the children are very inquisitive why the sound and how the sound is coming from this book, and the teachers are also benefited by being assisted in the pronunciation, and they are assisted to be a better teacher. Now, when we talk about the cost of the device, so the cost of the device depends on the scale. So more the number of people using this device, or maybe the devices from various vendors who would have devices in various models, shape, sizes. So the more the people use it, the cost goes down. So it is simply, if we have the cost at 2,500 or maybe 1,800 today, it could go to half if we have 1 million people using it, or maybe 10 million people. It could go to maybe just $10, which is 500 to 700 rupees also. So now the question comes, how do we apply and manage the ISLI codes? So we have created a website. I will just show you the website also. So this is the website that we have created. So it is called isliindia.org, and it is the publication management system for people to come and register, log in, and then start using this. So I'll show you the presentation of this now. So I just showed you the screen of the website. So what we need to do is we need to go to the website called isliindia.org and click on this registration button. So when you click on this, you will open, a new page will open, and you will be able to see what all details we need to put. So it is advised to use a Chrome browser. So this is recommended for ease of navigation. So this is the registration process. So every publisher can put its details and information, and this they have to just simply click here and submit. Once you have registered, a username password will be issued to you like any other website. So you just go back to the home page, put your username and your password, and you are ready to go. Now we have two choices to choose from for the process of coding the books. So if it is a book, we need to use this icon. If it is a publication, we need to use the other icon. Publication could be a newspaper, or it could be any other journal or magazine, or it's basically for a periodical. So once you choose the book recording thing, you have to either click on the book or the recording button here, which is on the left, and you apply for the ISLI mark code, which is here on the right. So then you have to fill in all the information of the books. So this basically helps in the metadata also. So our items which are marked with a star are mandatory. So this website has been made very user-friendly, and it is very easy to navigate and register all your publications. After you submit it, this application comes to the DRA. DRA just looks into it and approves it. If it is a magazine or a periodical, we use this icon and use the same process of getting the ISLI codes. So once this is done, after you finish the application, you go to the management function to handle all your applications and see whether it is approved or unapproved. You can also use the search function if you have multiple number of publications where you have done the coding for converting your book into a talking book. So how do we come to know whether my application is approved or not? So this above image is showing that the DRA did not approve your application. It could be some technical issue or some information which they may like to verify. So either you can just wait for some time or contact the DRA to accelerate the process. Once you see the number, this one, this means the DRA has approved your application, and you can download the codes and start coding for your publication. So all the codes can be downloaded free of cost. So you will see an icon like this, which is the download sign, and you press it, you are able to download the codes, and each book is assigned 100,000 codes, which means 1 lakh codes for each book would be assigned, and these could be used for every alphabet or every word or sentence, or it could be used for an image or the page or a paragraph, depending on the requirement of the publisher. So earlier what was happening, that there was a limitation of the number of codes that were available through various permutations and combinations. So earlier only 6,66,666 codes were available. But now, with each book being assigned 100,000 codes, and the number of books that can be assigned these codes is infinite. Therefore, this standard becomes a very, very useful and an important standard. Other functions that you will get here is you can check the information about your application by clicking on this icon. You can modify your application by clicking on the edit button. we give the codes, they're assigned for a period of 6 months. By clicking on this icon of the watch, you can increase the validity of your codes till the time you finish. So once you finish coding, then the codes are there with you for life. But once you are assigned codes, until the time you finish coding, there's a time gap of 6 months. So if you are unable to code your books within 6 months, you can apply to increase the time. And if you want to, you've made some mistake or you just don't want to use the technology, you can use this button for the revocation of the ISLI codes. So this was the presentation about how we can create and convert our books into talking books. So conversion of talking books is very easy, very simple. You just have to decide and make up your mind and understand whether it will be useful for your publication, for the audience or the readers of this. And once you begin the process, I assure you, we are there to handhold and support you and take you through the process, teach you the process, and help in standardization of the process. So once this whole process of standardization is understood, we will have thousands of publishers, hundreds of government organizations using this technology, and automatically the cost of device would enjoy the economies of scale, and children who need to be given an opportunity to learn can be empowered with this simple tool, and they can be much brighter, and it could be a very, very interesting program. So we have the website isli.org. This is the email. If you want to get in touch with us, somebody's mic is on, and this is the phone number. So all you need to do is just pick up the phone and speak to the person on this phone, and they will be happy to assist you, handhold you, and teach you the process and ensure that your books are converted into talking books. So this is all from my side. Now I'm open to all questions. So if anybody has any question, they may feel free to ask.
Thank you, Manish sir, for such an informative session. This was extremely explanatory, and I think you answered a lot of questions and doubts that any education department or a publisher or a printer can have. I'm just bringing in a couple of more questions, which might be a repeat of the discussion you've already had, but it will be really productive because some people might have missed it. So one question that usually anybody might have would be that if they are a publisher and they have published and generated codes on their own, then why do they need a standard?
So a standard is basically like, for example, if we have a tape recorder or a cassette player, and everybody creates a different kind of cassette, different size of the cassette with different features, so it won't fit into a standardized tape recorder, which means the tape recorder can be of various models, but the cassette holder where it will put the cassette would remain standardized. Similar is for CD players. So the CD player or a CD drive could be in various sizes and shapes, but the CD can, of a standardized size, can be used there, or a DVD can be used. So similarly, in this world of talking books, there were various people who had created dot codes, and this dot code was being used in various forms by various countries, various publishers. So when they realized that it is a simple technology where we just need to assign one code to one publisher for one publication, it was realized that we should create an ISO standard. So this association came together, worked on this standard, and the International Standard Organization in Switzerland, Geneva, created a standard which is available for sale from their website. And now Bureau of Indian Standards has put in a lot of time, effort, energy, and they have adopted this and it has gone for publication also. So, which means that if the standardized books, or rather the books with standardized code are printed, one device can be used by for any publication of the book. So it makes it very simple for the user, and the user doesn't have to buy multiple pens from multiple publications, whether government or private, and keep investing on the same tape recorder, whereas it is the book which is acting as a cassette and the reader is the tape recorder. And this tape recorder can be made by various companies and can be of various sizes, models, and features.
Excellent. So I think it would be a great utilization for all the end users. One more question which we had, I went through your presentation and I realized you've mentioned about agencies who can help us out. Is there a list of companies who can assist us in this entire process, like recording, coding, and printers whom we can approach for printing of these talking books? Is there a list?
So we have started this process recently, and we have two agencies who are trained, and they can help you in coding. And there are some recording studios who have been trained how to record for this, because this is a little different from, or rather very similar to what the standard recording is, with a little modifications and little precautions they have to take. So there is a list of studios who are experts in recording for these talking books, and the printing companies are trained, they understand this process, and they are also certified. So they are the ones who can print these books with ease and with whatever scale and quality is required.
Excellent. One important question, because we have a lot of state governments and education departments and IGNU who've joined us, and they have existing school books or some academic books that have already been printed in the past or are being used in the existing session. Could those school books be converted into talking books?
There is certainly a process to convert the existing books which are already printed into talking books. What is done is these codes are printed on a sticker sheet, and on the sticker we write in very small font the name of the book and the page number. So that particular sticker can be pasted on various books, and when you point the pen on that particular page, which has the sticker, it can play the audio file. But the process is very simple. For every publication which is going out for print, it can be converted into a talking book, and it should be converted into a talking book and printed with the talking codes. Now, it is not essential that that particular book will be used as a talking book. It can be used as a normal book. It may not be required for some readers to buy this device. They may not like to buy this device. But if the book is already coded and it has the capability of being read through a talking device, so it is always beneficial for the people. On another point, when we talk about videos, for videos, what happens is a QR code is created, and this QR code can be accessed through the mobile phone. So now the question of monetization happens. So we have realized that this computer of mine doesn't have a CD drive, but I want to listen to a music which is not downloadable, though we have all digital platforms to download content. But if I want to buy that content physically from a shop, so all you need to do is sell your QR codes. So you buy the QR code and you scan it from your mobile. You can listen to the music, or a video file can also be played. Maybe instead of buying a DVD for a movie, you could just buy one QR code, and the whole movie can be played through that QR code. Unless you want to go to YouTube or a Netflix or any digital platform to listen to that content or to see that content. For talking books, best way is when you're going for a print, plan 3 to 6 months in advance. We help you with the coding, we help you with the recording, we help you to identify these agencies, and we help you connect with the printers, or we are open to train and certify a lot of other printers also.
Excellent. So my next question was actually about the time it will take for the process to be completed. So I think, as you mentioned, 4 to 6 months will be the time duration that it will take, and then the next academic session they can start.
So the time taken is basically to prepare people, number one, with the process of this. The coding can happen very quickly depending on the number of people who are assigned that work and how well trained they are. Recording, a lot of organizations already have recorded content. So either that content is used, or maybe they have to do new recording. So there are studios all across the country where, in fact, in every state capital, multiple studios there who can be trained and who can be certified for this purpose of recording. So record either existing files, audio files, or new files can be recorded, and coding can happen. This can happen in 1 week also for a book, but it depends on how quickly the publisher or the government can respond, how quickly the coding can happen, how quickly the audio files can be made available. And for printing, whatever time it takes to print a book, it is exactly the same to print a talking book versus a normal book.
One more question we had that you had mentioned that the codes are free of cost. So is there a limit to the number of codes that we can receive free of cost, or as many as we want? What is it like?
So any publisher in the world, or we are representing a few countries here, so they can get the codes free of cost. So, and they can have multiple number of books, as many books they want. And for each book, there is a number of 100,000 codes, which is 1 lakh codes per book. So they could have thousands and thousands of books, which they can code. And all the codes are free. For coding, either their people do it or they find agencies who do it. It is just like typesetting. So, like we used to go to typesetters to type key in the books or do the layout of the books. Similarly, there are agencies who understand the coding process. Coding can be done through them. And once the files are coded, it goes to a printing company, which is a normal printing company, which is trained and certified. So these trained and certified companies can very easily print these books in the same time as they print the normal books.
Excellent. So I think this was an excellent presentation, and you answered almost all questions that any attendee must be having. If any attendee has any other question, we have mentioned the mobile number and also the website where you can visit us and put in your questions. We'll be happy to answer, and our team will contact you. There must be state governments who have joined us in this webinar, so we can do individual calls with each of them and explain the entire process to make it easy. So as far as I understand, this is a wonderful revolutionizing technology that makes any existing book or a new book that you're going to publish into a talking book, which you can hear, listen, and then learn. So it will be a wonderful addition to any school, college, or any organization with specially able normal children, have any challenges with the teachers, any kind of issues, and this will be a good solution. And especially in this COVID time, I think this will be an excellent opportunity to give our children, and I think they deserve this. With this, we come to the end of the presentation. I would like to thank everybody who's been a part of this webinar, especially all the guests, all the attendees who've joined us from different locations of the country, from different parts, from education departments to publishers to all the institutions. Thank you for joining us. Had you not been there, it would not have been successful. Special thank you to all the panelists, all the esteemed panelists who joined us, Dr. D.K. Agarwal sir, Shalu madam, Snehlata madam, Jaideep Sharma ji, thank you so much. You had been very kind to us and your support has been exceptional. There has been so much of hand holding and your intent to make this standard popular is very exciting, and we are very happy to know that you are putting in so much effort so that there can be change in the education system. So thank you to everybody. I will now forward this to Ms. Shalu Vashne Madam for her vote of thanks.
Just one line I'd like to add.
Sure.
This presentation will be available for anybody. They can write to us or to BIS, and the recording of this session will also be available on the YouTube channel of BIS.
And we are in the chat also putting in again our contact details and our email ID. So anybody who wants to contact us, we'll be very happy to. We have some messages from Andhra Pradesh SCRT. Madam, we'll be very happy to come in touch with you. We'll share the details in the chat below. Shalu Madam, can we
Hi Ankita, can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes, excellent. Yes.
Yeah, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to all of you. So in today's webinar, we try to disseminate information on standardization in the field of documentation information and existing standards in this field, latest technology and emerging areas pertaining to this field. So today our eminent speaker, Mr. Manish Rajoria ji, discussed in detail about this standard on international standard link identifier and how the associated technology mentioned in the standard can be used in converting normal books into talking books. And I'm very thankful to Mr. Manish Rajoria ji for sharing the practical aspect of this technology and methodology involved in converting normal books into talking books in such a simple and detailed manner. I hope everyone must have benefited from today's webinar and expect this technology to reach out to various technology and service providers across the country and within different sectors and towards continual growth in service. I'm thankful to Ms. Ankita Srivastav and Mr. Pradeep ji and the entire team of MSA Edtech for jointly organizing this webinar with BIS and for making all the necessary arrangements and effectively coordinating this webinar. I would like to thank my head, Mrs. Snehlata, and my DDG, Mr. DK Agrawal ji, for their immense support towards extended towards this webinar. And last but not the least, many thanks to all the participants for being with us today and making this webinar a success. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. We are signing off, and we are also putting in our details. So anybody who wants to contact us can just log into our website and get in touch. Thank you. Pradeep,
Thank you.
Just one request. We
Pradeep,
have
can
shared
you
the
speak right here?
feedback form link. Kindly fill this, and I am also sharing the email ID and phone number for your further communication.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.